Hey, beautiful souls. You've got me for another solo podcast episode today. I got the intuitive ping to share an episode on the top 3 ways to start to reconnect with your intuition. So, our intuition is like a muscle. We need to practice with it. We need to, get the reps in like we would going to the gym or relearning how to ride a bike. It might feel wobbly at first, but essentially what we're doing is we're starting to really tune back into what does it feel like again to tap into my intuition? Because we're born, with this intuitive sense of knowing. And then if you're anything like me, you probably got that stifled, right? Through people that were saying, focus, be in the room, stop, daydreaming, stop using your imagination. That's not real. And we started to really question whether or not our intuitive hits were correct because people were telling us, look at the data, look at what the book is telling you. There's no room for individual thinking, right? This is kind of how our school systems have been set up to teach people how to become a workforce, which means follow other people's rules versus independent thought, right? And I think we're the generation that's really starting to wake up to the fact that that's not working for us as a collective anymore. If you're anything like me, that's the vibe that I've been getting, and that's what I've been channeling, is that more and more people are waking up to the fact that the old way of doing things is outdated, and it's time for us to tune back into our innate sense of knowing. But we have to really start to remember how to do it. It's still there. So even if you're like, no, I have to talk to psychics, or I'm just not born with this gift, the truth is you just haven't played with it in a little while. And we don't always have to go for answers outside of ourselves. I thought I had to. I thought I had to just pay psychics to tell me what my future looked like and what was in alignment and what wasn't. And that was truly because I just didn't trust my intuition yet. And I hadn't really practiced with it enough to know what it felt like to get an intuitive yes and an intuitive no. Or as some people say, a full body yes or a full body no. And so I want to provide several ways, 3 ways in particular, that are going to help you better understand what's in alignment with your soul and what is not. Right. So this is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to give you just a quick backstory. The more that I started to flex this muscle of testing my intuition, tuning into what it felt like, the more I started to get the intuitive pings and the louder they got and the less sense they really made. Because a lot of times an intuitive ping doesn't actually make logistical sense, doesn't make logical sense, right? I'll give you an example. I went to this event that it didn't really make logical sense for me to be in the room. I'm a shaman, right? And I'm looking around and I'm like, I think everyone here is in real estate. Feeling okay. I'm like wearing red and everyone here is wearing gray. Interesting. But I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to be in this room. So I'm just going to lean in. And I know that no matter what, every room I walk into, I always find special people. Like I always am somehow drawn to the perfect people that I'm meant to meet. And it always makes sense, hindsight 2020. Right. And so I settled in, started to make friends, started to connect with the people around me. And I got this intuitive ping as, the first speaker went out, go fill your water cup. It's like a voice just said, go fill your water cup. And I'm like looking down at my completely full water cup. And I'm like, why? Like, what? And I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. But I'm like, I don't know. That felt really loud. And I don't feel like I want to sit here anymore. Like, I feel like I need to get up. And I had been practicing and kind of playing with my intuition at this point a lot more than I had in the past. So I'm like, I'm going to follow it. Let's see what happens. So I get up, I go to fill my water cup that's already full. So I think I'm just like acting and pretending like I'm like turning the nozzle. I'm like, dee, and turn right back around. And I ran into Amberly Lago. I did not know that this is Amberly Lago at first, but I literally almost ran into her, almost poured my water on her beautiful butterfly suit. And I was like, who is this incredible angel on earth? I'm like, oh my gosh, this woman is so fun, so nice, so incredible. And me and her just started talking. And I'm like, oh, this is why I came to this event. Like, I was supposed to meet you. Okay, got it. Like I started putting 2 and 2 together. It's like, of course I got the ping, stand up, get water. Because what a beautiful way to meet someone in a room full of 1,000 people. Who knows how else we would have been able to kind of meet each other and just the 2 of us to meet each other, and when very few other people were in the hallway. So it really gave us an opportunity to actually connect. We exchanged numbers. We went to coffee. Lo and behold, she is my first podcast guest on this podcast, and I've since been on her podcast. We support each other in so many different ways, and I'm just so in love with that woman. She is, if you don't follow her yet, she is absolutely someone that you have to follow. Amberly Lago has an absolute heart of gold, and I'm getting body chills just sharing that because she is absolutely someone that you want to play with and learn from, and just such a testament to what grit and grace and heart and love truly look like. So, this is just an example of where our intuition might not make sense, but it's guiding us for a reason. And so this is why it's really powerful for us to start to play with our intuition. So I'm going to do a couple of different things that'll help us start to really tune in to our intuition. So the first one that's coming through to share with you is to start to understand, what does it feel like in my body when something is in alignment versus when something is not in alignment. So if you're driving, don't close your eyes, keep your eyes on the road. If you're walking, maybe don't close your eyes, keep your eyes out for potholes. But if you're in a space where you can kind of tune in, close your eyes, start to really connect into your body, I'm going to share a couple of words, a couple of sentences, and I want you to start to notice the sensations that you feel in your body. So just closing your eyes, just starting to come into your body, just asking for relaxation in the body, presence inside of the body, just allowing you to really drop down into your body. The first question, who's to blame here? Who's to blame here? Ooh, I'm feeling that sensation in my chest. I'm feeling contraction, right? My throat is closing up. I feel like I'm at work and I'm being scolded, right? This is kind of our body starting to tell us this isn't really in alignment. Often it will feel like a contraction in the body, a closing of an area of the body, like let's say the throat, or as some people refer to the energy center, the throat chakra, right? A closing in of that energy. This is your body telling you something. Something is off. Something doesn't feel good in your body. So see how that just the words alone carry energy, how your body was reacting to it. This sense of blame, where is it living in your body? For me, it felt like chest, it felt like throat. For you, it could be your root, right? Your sits bones. The idea of like, I'm not feeling safe here because the root chakra is all about safety. So just something to consider when it comes to how the body feels when something's out of alignment. Because our divine truth will feel good in our body. It will feel expansive in our body. And things that are out of alignment won't. It's as simple as that. So now I'm going to bring another sentence into the space. So again, tuning into your body, closing your eyes if you can, if you're not driving, if you're not walking, if you're not operating machinery, allow yourself to drop into your body. Just asking, your soul to drop down into your body, for you to drop down into your body. Just getting really present to sensations in your body, just shaking off the last sentence I gave you so you can have a blank slate, a neutral slate, just waiting for this next sentence now to come through to see how this feels in your body. What's possible here? What's possible? What's a possible solution? Let's live in possibility. So I'm feeling my energy expand. So I'm just going to share some of my sensations. My chest still felt a little contracted from before, and I started to feel like it almost like an opening, a widening of my chest. It was like oh, that's a nice sensation. That kind of energy where it's like, okay, I could play with this, right? This is your body starting to tell you what's in alignment with your soul, right? Your body is an intuitive tool, right? It's telling you things. And so this is your opportunity to start to tune in and listen to those physical sensations. Again, if you feel like the energy is coming in, it's contracting, that's one way that your body is telling you, your intuition is telling you something is off. So it's kind of like you go on a date and you're with this person and they look perfect on paper, mom and dad would approve, right? But you're like, something about this person is a full body no for me, right? Like this is a full body no. You look great on paper, but I do not want to sleep with you, right? Or you look great on paper, but just like the energy is off. I just like don't feel this with you. Something is like, right? That energy. We know what that feels like. right? Or we're going to hire someone and they're saying all the right things, but something about their energies feels like, I can't trust you. I think you're saying all the right things, but I don't think you're going to follow through. There's something about me there's something about my energy. My body is now closing in when I'm in your presence, right? And so it's this idea of like, I don't think I want to work with you. Even if they look perfect on paper, they've said all the right things, our body is truly telling us the story of our soul. So this is our opportunity to start to listen and to see how it pans out in a really beautiful way. So that's a beautiful way, is use your body as a way of really tuning in to what are the sensations that I'm feeling so that I can better understand what's in alignment versus what's not, or what I think might be in alignment, what I think isn't. And then let me follow up on that. Let's say I follow it. Okay, it doesn't feel like it's in alignment. So I'm going to start to follow that. And now I find out, thank goodness I didn't follow through with hiring that person because my friend just did and they just got screwed over, or whatever that could look like, right? These are beautiful intuitive pings that we're getting all the time that are allowing us to really tune in to say, okay, what is in alignment and what is not? Another thing that I recommend, super simple, get a coin, right? Get a coin, and then you're going to ask it a question. So maybe it's am I supposed to go on this trip with my friends? Right? And then you say heads means yes, tails means no. You flip it and it lands on heads, which means you're going. And you immediately have this like sinking feeling where you're like, I know I should go on the trip, but like sleeping in and not doing anything sounds so much better. Like, the sinking feeling of like, I have to, now I have to. That's your answer. It's not what the coin says. It's what your guttural response, your intuitive response is, your body's response is to what the coin is telling you. Now, if it tells you, no, don't go on the trip, and you're like, awesome, I wanted to sleep in, I just don't want to go, I'm so excited that the coin is also telling me, like, it's giving me permission to not go, that's also your answer, right? Your reaction to the coin and what it says versus what the coin itself says. Make sense? Okay, and then the last one. So this is something that I find really cool is we can use our body as a pendulum, and we can actually use a pendulum as well to start to tune into our intuition. So I use this anytime I'm going to make a really big purchase, or I'm just needing like that little extra bit of clarity on a big decision I'm about to make, right? So the thing that I'll do is, let's start with the body first, and then we can talk about the pendulum. So if you're using your body, because our body comes with us everywhere, right? Until we're on the other side. But in this lifetime, our body's coming with us everywhere. So this is very simple. You could do this anywhere. So what I invite you to do is then stand, have your weight evenly on both feet, kind of unlock your knees, and ask your body a yes or no question that you know the answer is yes to. And then see how your body moves or sways. So like I would be standing, I'd have equal feet or equal weight on both of my feet. I would ask the question, my name is Christina. And then I would see how my body sways. And for me, my body, my soul aligned yes, my body makes me sway forward. Now, this could be different for you, right? And so, but for me, my body sways forward. It's telling me yes. Okay, thank you. Now I want to ask my body a yes or no question that I know the answer is no to. So then what I do is I say, okay, great. So I live in New York City. And then I see how my body sways. And my body will then sway backwards because I don't live in New York City. I live in Texas, right? And so the beautiful thing about that is then recognizing, okay, beautiful. My body, when something is not true, falls backwards. Now, this could be different for you again, which is why we test it. We want to understand our compass for like how does our body speak to us uniquely, right? And so utilize that acclimate to your yes and no. And then from there, ask a question. So what I like to do anytime I'm going to ask a question is I like to add a couple caveats before I dig in. I will say it is for my highest good and the highest good of all those connected to me and of the highest vibration to purchase this $25,000 mastermind, right? And maybe give some more details specifically to that. To purchase this $25,000 mastermind right now, all right? So giving some specifics, because sometimes it's like, yeah, you should purchase it. in 10 years, right? So sometimes getting a little bit more specific, giving a little bit more details. So is for my highest good and the highest good of all those connected to me and of the highest vibration to purchase X and X's mastermind right now. And then see how your body sways. Does your body sway forward? For me, if it swayed forward, that would mean yes. But if it swayed backwards, it would mean no, or no, not right now, right? So you can play with that. You can have a lot of fun with that. Anytime I'm about to make a big decision, whether it's financial, personal, whatever that might be, I always like to kind of validate it, pressure check it if I'm not 100% sure in my mind, right? And this is just a good tool to have in your back pocket. So something beautiful there. And the reason I do those two caveats is I want it to be highest good and I want it to feel good. I want it to be a high vibration as well, because sometimes the things that are for our highest good kick us in the butt, right? Like it's like if anyone has ever been sick, they're like, well, I needed to take a break. So my body made me take a break, right? And it's like one of those situations where it's like, oh man, that didn't feel good, but it was for my highest good, right? I needed to learn to not burn myself out, that kind of thing. So something very beautiful and potent about that is just testing it out, learning in that way. So if you're going to use a pendulum, you're going to do it the exact same way. You'll just hold the pendulum. What I do is I hold it above my hand. I'll ask it a yes or no question. I'll see how the pendulum moves. For me, my pendulum, when it's a yes, moves in a circle. And then for me, when my pendulum is a no, it moves back and forth. Now, I know of people that it's the opposite. So this is why, again, you test it and you tune into what are my tools uniquely attuned to for me, right? Because everyone's tool is going to be different and our energy is going to be different, right? And so that's why we want to test it ahead of time. So these are 3 ways to start to really tune into your intuition. What is my body telling me? How does it feel in my body? What's my reaction to a coin being flipped? Again, what is my body telling me? And let me use my body to sway, or a pendulum to move, to better understand what is my intuition trying to tell me. So as someone who is starting to retune into their intuition, utilizing a tool like the body became a really powerful way to start to re-lean in to my intuition, because now I get very intense physical sensations on top of just feeling some of the things that we felt today. So it gets stronger and stronger, just like you going to the gym. It's going to get stronger and louder every time you play with it and practice with it. So I recommend doing that. Some people will make a journal and they will say, okay, the intuitive hit was this. I followed it. How did it pan out? Cool. And this is you starting to collect data that you following your intuition is panning out, is working for you, right? So that's just one way of starting to tune in to our intuition and better understand, or I should say 3 ways to start to really tune into our intuition and better understand what our soul is trying to tell us. Because our soul is always communicating to us, and it's our job to kind of reignite that and turn that back on. And the reason this is so important in business is I can't tell you how incredibly potent my intuition being turned on has become as a way to monetize, as a way to grow, as a way to serve, as a way to tune into what I'm most aligned with, what I'm most excited about serving with, right? Because I've had offers before where I'm like, why does this feel so heavy? Why do I feel constricted every time the call's about to come? My intuition was telling me that wasn't in alignment anymore, right? But then other times, so then what this really happened. So I was like, why do I feel so misaligned with this offer? So I had to do some like soul searching and connect to, does it make sense to keep doing this offer? Or is this my body's way of telling me there's something more? So I made the executive decision to sunset that offer, kind of close out that offer in a way that felt nourishing for everyone that was in the space and myself included. And then through that, all of a sudden I had spaciousness to then say, oh, that's what I want to do with my time. That feels really good. Okay, now I'm going to start to expand into this, right? So then I use my energy to create a new offer. But had I not closed down that other offer, I might not have known that this was next on the horizon, right? So just pay attention. If something's feeling heavy in your business, there's some misalignment there that desires to come back in. So to give you kind of an example of that, for me, I had a membership for a little while and it was very low ticket. And I was kind of giving so much in the space that it was more like a mastermind, right? Where I was giving so much in the space, but it was such a low ticket offer that I wasn't kind of like the energetic exchange just didn't feel right in my body. Like there was some heaviness there. And so what I decided to do was sunset that. And then through that experience, a month later, all of a sudden I got the ping, mastermind, go. Like there are women in your space and men in your space that need this space to better understand how to tune into their intuition, how to heal everything that's in the way of what you want. And so that's why I ended up building my Transcendence Mastermind, because I recognized, well, wait a minute, I'm spending money on, personally, I have to spend money on strategy, like I'm in my mastermind, and then I have to spend money on my healers because I have healers on the side. And one of my biggest piece of healing, or one of my biggest piece of business advice is heal what's in the way of what you want. So I was like, what if I combine the two? And all of a sudden I had space in my calendar to start to ideate. I had the energy to build it. And all of a sudden I was like, let's go. Right. And it just boomed overnight. It's like the ideas started flowing and the space was created and women were stepping into the space. And it was just like the most incredible experience to recognize that had I not followed my intuition, I would still be doing an offer that felt heavy, which means I wouldn't have been able to serve the way that I know my heart genuinely desires to serve, which means the people in the space wouldn't have been getting what they, were wanting from the space because that was energetically misaligned, right? So I had to follow my intuition, close out something that was making money, and then utilize that energy to then say, okay, then what's next? And through that, I then founded my membership or my mastermind, my Transcendence Mastermind, in the most incredible, potent way. And it makes so much sense now, but we just have to start following our intuition in all things business and all things life. But that is why I wanted to come to you today is these are some of the top 3 ways to start to really reconnect to our intuition. You have access to your intuition, but again, it's just a muscle that you have to flex more and more to start to really come into that attunement of what it feels like when something is in alignment versus out of alignment. And this is one of the fastest ways to quantum leap in business. Okay, beautiful souls. I hope that this was supportive. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is @IamChristina Deering. So follow me there if you're not already following me. And of course, if you loved this episode or any of the other episodes, when you leave that 5-star review, it allows for more people to find it. So I would be so grateful. It's one of those little abundant things that we can do where when we're giving, and even little micro ways like that, we are receiving so much back in return. So I am eternally grateful for you being here and giving us your beautiful presence in the community. I, behind the scenes, bless each of you before any of these podcast episodes even start. I'm very intentional about the energy in the space. And so just know that. I hope that you feel that because I am very intentional about setting the energy and making sure that anyone who steps into any of these episodes is receiving something really potent, really beautiful, and that they're feeling that blessing from the space that I'm intentionally placing there for you. So I hope that that's something that you feel, and I'm just sending you so much love, and I cannot wait to connect with you. So until next time.